All right, Saturday, 23rd of May is the International Day to End Obstetric Fistula, and that's just tomorrow. We're talking a lot more about this particular issue, and my guest, Dr. Robert K. Mensa, is reproductive health specialist with the UNFPA here in Accra, and Bridget Isiama is program analyst, reproductive health and humanitarian response, also with the UNFPA. So good morning, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
First of all, can we understand better what this condition is? May I start with you, Doc?
Yeah. Fistula simply means, in a layman's term, a tract and a connection. So when we talk about a fistulous tract, it's like taking one chamber, another hall there, then you put some connection in between them. The door in between them can be looked at as a fistula. It's a tract that connects to organs. In obstetric fistula, what is happening is that there's a connection between the bladder, the urinary bladder, and the vagina itself, bypassing the normal route where urine normally will pass, and the valve that controls whether you have to release urine or you hold it back. It is bypassed. Therefore, the bladder releases its content directly into the vagina, or sometimes even the worst one, the rectum, which is the passage for feces behind the vagina, also releases its content directly into the vagina. So feces will be coming from the vagina, or urine will be coming from the vagina, but not through the normal route. And normally it is because of obstructed labor. When women go to deliver, the natural responsibility God has put on them to deliver and give another baby to this earth, to continue procreation, something happens that leads to the difficulty in laboring. So the head of the baby is trapped between the tissues in the pelvis and the bone of the pelvis. It presses it against it. It presses the tissues against it. Then blood supply to the tissues are cut off, and especially the blood supply to the tissue between the vagina and the bladder, or the rectum and the vagina, are cut off. When that happens, there's tissue death, and then it leads to the creation of that connection I talked about.
Is this something that is a mistake, something that somebody does that results in this, or this can just happen naturally?
Preferably, I would say there's an error. Somebody should have prevented it, because it's due to obstructed labor. So if a woman goes into labor and she's struggling to push, and you know, some people will say, oh, for me, my labor takes 3 days, 4 days. If indeed it is a 3-day labor, God really protected you, because within 3 days, if labor hasn't resulted within 12 to 48 hours, there's the tendency that you could have an obstructed labor, and that could even lead to, if no cesarean section intervention is done, you could even lose your life. So women, when they are in labor, should respond to the labor call immediately. When they know that they need to go to the hospital, just go there and let somebody make that decision. Obstructed labor is definitely, fistula is definitely caused by obstructed labor as the main thing. There are other causes we can talk about, but as the main thing, and it is due to our inability to respond quickly and put in interventions that can save the woman from that.
Okay, so let's Bridget, let's talk about some of the things that we can do to get to this point. Is it something that, when it's detected, can be fixed right there whilst you're still in the process of delivering?
Yes. The reason why we are here today is that tomorrow, the 23rd of May, is the International Day to End Obstetric Fistula. It's a day which was launched globally by UNFPA in 2003. And in 2005, UNFPA, in collaboration with the government of Ghana, also launched the national campaign. Now, why was the day instituted? The day was instituted to create awareness of the condition and then intensify actions. There is treatment available. So if anyone detects, or someone is detected to have fistula, the issue is that there is treatment available. What is happening is that there is not enough awareness about the condition. So we realize that it happens in a community or it happens to someone, the family members or the person doesn't know that there is treatment available. And then there are, sorry, and then there are myths surrounding it that might be due to a curse or something. So that we need to raise awareness, create awareness about the fact that there is treatment available and people to go to the health facility to get treatment.
Okay, so let me come to you, Dr. Mensa, then. How would I know that I have this condition?
Well, you know you have the condition if, for instance, without prompting from you, without your own will, you notice that after delivery, especially, you just urinate on yourself. You, without any control, you don't feel like the urine is coming. Normally when you feel like urinating, the bladder gets full and then pain is intensified. You begin to get progressive pain and you have to run and go and void. All those feelings you get when you are like, Charlie, I'm so hot with this urine, they are not there. So you are there and it just pours. You sit, it's pouring. You get up, it's pouring. You are walking, it's pouring. Then you know there's a problem. In the worst case scenario, even feces also come along the same way. So you are pouring urine, you are pouring feces at the same time.
You don't feel the urge to want to go to the washroom. It just comes.
It just comes. You don't have any control over it. And it's different from people who even bedwet. The people who bedwet, sometimes they feel that the urine is coming. This
sometimes
one,
they dream.
Sometimes
they
dream.
dreaming.
But this one, you are just sitting, Mama be like you are sitting right now. It's just pouring. Wow. And so you begin to see it. And then the condition is usually chronic. And it's a condition that puts you further into cycle of poverty as well. Because assuming you are a cocoa seller, you sell Aisa cocoa in the morning near Joy FM, and everybody goes to buy, and that's how you are making your money. Go and deliver, and then you get an obstetric fistula. You are smelling of urine. Your customers will go away. They won't come again, and then it puts you into further cycle of poverty. And worst of all, your husband may leave you, because it happens often. Family members will say you are bewitched, and they begin to read spiritual meanings into it. You are eventually ostracized and plastered to the wall somewhere, neglected. And it can lead to other infections, because the obstetric fistula can let you have a urinary tract infection that can progress into your kidney and so many things. So it's just the beginning of one trouble. Like I had said earlier on, when you get an obstetric fistula, it is a condition that is impoverishing. I mean, at the end of the day, you are never a happy person. You lose everything, relatives, everyone that you do. But like Bridget said, there's hope. First of all, if during cesarean session, for instance, now I'm going to one of the few causes of it. During cesarean session, in the unlikely event that through some emergency a doctor makes a mistake and puts an incision that can lead to obstetric fistula, once they detect it, it can be repaired immediately. Okay. And the tube is passed into the bladder for you to urinate. That's thereby resting the bladder for it to heal properly. There's no problem. So an immediate repair is a possibility. But when it is due to obstructed labor, you see, when your clothes gets torn by a blade, a cut by a blade, the stitching is easier. But when your clothes gets torn by, let's say, a blast damage, you see that there are so many areas that are torn, and a stitch is nearly impossible. So obstetric fistula is like a cloth that is torn by a blast when it is caused by obstructed labor, because the tissue dies and therefore you don't know what will happen. So the hole there is bigger and it's also irregular, whereas when an incision is made into it, it is easier. There are several other causes of obstetric fistula.
But would the doctor know, or would the midwife realize what has happened?
A doctor and a midwife who are trained will know if it is done immediately. If it is caused immediately, they will know. they themselves will know what has happened. And then if it is not, at least when the patient comes here and they have obstetric fistula, the midwife will suspect, will refer to a doctor. If the doctor doesn't have the skill to examine to be sure that it's there, from the history and from the fact that the woman is pouring urine, he will know and make the right diagnosis and refer to the one who can actually examine, like the obstetrician gynecologist, examine, see the hole in most cases, or feel the hole of the hand. Then they know that the victim is there.
All right. Bridget seemed to be carrying the good news, which is that this condition can be overturned. So what are the options?
The options for?
You can just go to a hospital and tell them this is what you're experiencing.
Yes.
Is it expensive?
Yes. Currently, treatment of obstetric fistula is catered for under the National Health Insurance scheme.
That's more good news.
Yes, so that's very good news. So most of the women who are identified are usually registered under the National Health Insurance. In fact, UNFP has supported most of them in collaboration with our partners and put them on the National Health Insurance scheme. So they go to the facility and treatment is free. The issue is how to get them to the facility or getting them to the facility. So there's the need to create more awareness on the condition so that people know that these are the facilities available. You can go and have treatment and then you can have your dignity restored. Bob mentioned that when a woman has this condition, the woman is ostracized. It affects her life, completely. Her family life, her social life, because she's shunned, she can't go outside, she can't sell, she can't be economically dependent, because even if you are self-employed, when you have your products, people are not going to patronize them. So the woman really goes through a lot of things. This year's celebration, which is the third of its kind, we started the celebrations in 2013 when the day was designated by the United Nations General Assembly. The theme is End Fistula Now and Restore the Woman's Dignity, because with the condition, you realize that the woman's dignity, there's a slur on it.
What kind of women would usually be affected by this?
Usually, what has been coming out is that for those who are poor, very poor and illiterate, yes, you have them having this condition.
Because they don't even know what it is.
Exactly.
Yeah. The poor and illiterate because they don't know what it is. But also women with short stature, very smallish women who have very big babies. When they are going to deliver, the tendency for obstruction is high. When the baby they are going to deliver is coming as a breech means that the baby is coming with the buttocks rather than the head, or the legs rather than the head. In that case, it is unable to maneuver itself through the birth canal, and the obstruction is higher and can lead to obstetric fistula and many more conditions similarly. Yeah. So
if you fall into this category, then you might want to opt for a cesarean section instead of pushing, because of all the risks.
You actually don't opt for it. As soon as the doctors see you, as soon as the midwives see you, it is highly recommended for you to have.
But some women will still insist that they want to push.
Well, you can insist you want to push, and I'll supervise that only when I know there's a chance. But if there's no chance, I'll beg you not to push. If the choice is yours, that you insist that you don't want the cesarean section, you sign all the papers. When you get obstetric fistula or maternal mortality, I'm absorbed. But my duty as a professional is to bring to you the dangers of the decision you are making, so that you make a rightful decision.
So the process to overturn, is it a surgical one?
The process, well, the fistula campaign is focused at 3 pillars in Ghana. We have awareness creation and for prevention, and then we have identification of the clients and then treatment, and then also we have rehabilitation for social integration. Okay. For the awareness creation, what has been done and what is still going on is advocacy with policymakers who make the decisions on what has to be done for the woman to have access and availability to the services needed, and then also community sensitization for people to be aware of the condition and then know where to go for treatment. Then following that, when this awareness has been created, or somebody knows, the women go to the health facility, they are identified, and then they are given treatment. One of the challenges that was realized was the fact that we did not have adequate trained and experienced personnel or service providers to be able to treat the fistula. So over the years since the campaign was launched in Ghana, there has been training of service providers at accredited fistula training institutions. UNFPA has supported the training of at least 5 of these doctors, obstetrician gynecologists, and nurses as well. Because as much as we are creating the demand for the women, affected women, to go to the hospital, there's also the need for the expertise to be had when they go to the facility. Then, following the treatment, there's a need to reintegrate the women back into society, because due to the condition they had before, like I mentioned before, they were shunned, they were ostracized. Now, when they go back, they have to be able to go out there and be themselves and become economically dependent. What we have been doing with our partners, that's Ghana Health Service and the Ministry of Gender and Social Protection, is that for these women, when they are repaired, then we give them some skills for vocational skills training and then entrepreneurial skills, so that they can go back there and then have some skills to do and then generate some income. With this income, they are able to support themselves, support their families. Yes, so.
But what happened to their children? Because this condition would normally occur after childbirth. So what happened to the babies they've given birth to? Do we know?
Yeah, usually what happens is that they lose the babies. Remember, it's an obstructed labor, prolonged labor. So more than 95% of the chances are that you lose the baby. For the few that are lucky to get the baby is normal. And it may be taken care of by other family members. Or if there's nobody to take care of that, sometimes family members may even shun the baby because you are the baby from a bewitched mother, and so you can bring it to us also at home, and then this child has to live with the mother with all the urine and infectious conditions around.
Let's talk about, because you mentioned prevention, you can prevent it, and I'm just wondering, how can you? Because you're going to have your baby, you may not know that the baby is too big. If you can deliver, if you can have a normal delivery, it happens, and then this condition sets in. So how could you have prevented it?
Oh, naturally you can prevent it. First of all, a program like this, creating awareness, is one reason why somebody will hear what we are discussing and take measures to ensure that when they are in labor, they get to the health facility in time. Another way to prevent it is to reduce the number of pregnancies. And to reduce the number of pregnancies that occur, family planning is a way of reducing the...
What's the ideal number?
we can talk about that. We can talk about the ideal conditions and ideal number. But whatever it is, if you are subjected to pregnancy very frequently, the chances of getting obstetric fistula is also high, because the risk is in the pregnancy and the associated complications. The other way you can also prevent a thing like that is that at the antenatal clinics, the nurses, the midwives, the doctors will detect the potential for you to have it. You are a very small woman, you wear probably size 4 shoe, small pelvis, but you are working as Mama V, and you can take good care of yourself. You can take good care of yourself means that your baby will be growing very well in the tummy. You are happy that the doctors say your baby is growing very well. Soon there will be a disproportion. The baby can become bigger than the canal that it will pass through, because you have a very small pelvis, and it predisposes you. So immediately the doctors and midwives will tell you that big baby, through ultrasound we've seen it, we've examined you, we've seen it. Big baby means you have to get cesarean section. So by the time you get to cesarean section, you've been things that would have been explained to you. So all these are measures to try to prevent it. So preventive things, as Bridget said, are possible, but you have to open your eyes and ears. But the most important of them all is that when you are in labor, you do not know the outcome of labor. Pregnancy is not a disease. labor is not a disease. Both of them could be refreshing to the woman who is expecting to become a mother, but there are complications which you may not know. Go to the professional. Let them deal with the complications and address your problems for you.
Sure. Bridget, I don't know who you're targeting. We're talking about people who are not so well-to-do, but do you have men included in this awareness creation process? Because that's one thing I've learned, that when you're trying to target the woman, usually you should target the men too.
Yes, the men are definitely involved. In fact, they are also our priority in this advocacy and awareness creation, because we need the men's support to help the women, you know. And you know, in our society, sometimes we have social cultural barriers to some of our preventive activities. Now, for the woman even to go to the health facility, sometimes she needs the approval of her husband to go. Now, the need is for also the men to understand the condition and to understand the consequences of their actions or inactions. So we target the men as well. Male involvement is very critical to steroid prevention.
Sure. Finally, let's talk about what's happening tomorrow. How are you marking this day as UNFPA?
Yes. With the celebration this year, there are going to be 2 activities. Now, UNFPA is marking the day together with our partners. We have the Government of Ghana, Ghana Health Service, and Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection. And then we have NGOs as well. There are various actors who are into obstetric fistula prevention. And the 2 activities are that we're going to have a community derby in Wa West District in the Upper West region. So currently that activity is ongoing today. Yeah. So it's going to bring together political leaders, stakeholders, policymakers.
Why do you smile when you say political leaders?
Yes, because they're also important in the in the interventions. And then the community members. It's when you go to the community and you have such an awareness creation, there you see the realization or the joy of the people to get such information. So that's why we're taking it to the grassroots there in the Wild West district. And then the second one will be a media launch. It's an advocacy platform where we hear the stories of women who have been affected by fistula, who have been repaired, and how they are doing now. So we have the stories of about 8 women which will be showcased at that program. And it's due to happen maybe in the next couple of weeks, yes, after this community sensitization.
I like that bit. I want to hear the stories of some of these women. Yeah. But Dr. Mensa, can they have children afterwards?
Yes, post-repair. Post-repair, they can have children afterwards, so that's not a problem at all. But obstetricians will have to continue to guide them and provide the necessary intervention if needed.
All right. So unless there's something you want to add to our conversation, otherwise I want to say thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot. My guests in studio to talk about this condition, Dr. Robert K. Mensa, reproductive health specialist with the UNFPA, and Bridget Esiama, program analyst, reproductive health and humanitarian response, also with the UNFPA. Thank you so much for your time. I wish you the very best.
Thank you.
Okay, so often we live in a community. In fact, we grow up in one community, and then we move on. We get better lives elsewhere, and we forget about that community or the people who live in that community. Most of us are guilty. When was the last time you went back to your hometown, for instance, or a place where you grew up to do something for that community? I'm happy to share with you the story of one gentleman who's gone to a place where he could have decided not to ever look back. But he is back, and hopefully his story would influence you or would inspire you to also want to do something, give back to your own community. You're watching the AM show, Get Interactive. Go to our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/Joy News on TV. Please stay with us.